Trash doesn't walk through my front door. Brandon Cooper snatches a water pitcher from the hotel's welcome station. He dumps it over Victoria Hayes and her elderly mother Dorothy, soaking their clothes completely. The icy water hits Dorothy's face. She gasps, stumbling backward against the marble wall. Cooper tosses the empty pitcher aside. It clatters loudly across the floor. Tourists freeze, horrified. Phones rise like a forest. Victoria stands dripping, water pooling at her feet. Her soaked jacket clings tight, something rectangular bulges in the inner pocket. Dorothy shivers, mascara streaming down her cheeks. "Honey, please, let's just leave." Jenny Martinez's Instagram Live explodes with viewers. Comments rage. "Someone help them. Call police now." Cooper grins, grabbing a towel. He drops it at their feet. "Clean yourselves up before you track water through my lobby." Victoria's voice cuts through the chaos, deadly calm. "Mr. Cooper, you're absolutely certain this is how you want to handle this situation?" "Lady, I've never been more certain of anything." Have you ever watched someone's cruelty destroy their entire career in 15 minutes? Cooper's chest swells with satisfaction as he surveys his handiwork. Victoria and Dorothy stand soaked, water still dripping from their hair onto the pristine marble floor of the Grand Metropolitan's lobby. "Sarah!" Cooper calls to the front desk clerk, his voice carrying across the opulent space. "Call housekeeping. We have a spill situation." Sarah Mitchell shifts uncomfortably behind the mahogany reception desk, her fingers hovering over the phone. She's worked here 3 years. Never seen anything like this. Cooper circles the two women like a predator. "You know what your problem is? You think you can just walk into places like this and demand service. That's not how the world works." His voice grows louder, performing for the growing crowd of onlookers. European tourists pause their check-ins. Business travelers lower their phones to stare. "The Grand Metropolitan serves a certain clientele," Cooper continues, straightening his gold name tag. "People who understand quality, refinement, class." Dorothy wraps her arms around herself, shivering. The air conditioning hits her wet clothes like ice. "Victoria, maybe we should—" "No, Mom." Victoria's voice remains eerily calm. She reaches into her jacket, pulling out what appears to be boarding passes. Water has made the edges curl slightly. Cooper's eyes narrow, zeroing in on the documents. "Oh, what's this? Fake tickets? Let me guess, you're going to pretend you're some kind of VIP?" Victoria doesn't respond. She carefully separates the wet papers, revealing underneath them a black card that gleams despite the water damage. "Is that supposed to impress me?" Cooper laughs, loud enough for the entire lobby to hear. "Lady, I've seen every scam in the book. You can buy fake credit cards on the internet for $20. Jenny Martinez adjusts her phone angle, making sure her Instagram Live captures everything. Her viewer count has jumped to 2,000 people. Comments flood the screen faster than she can read them. "This is live at the Grand Metropolitan Hotel in Manhattan," she whispers to her audience. "This manager just dumped water on these two women and now he's—" "Excuse me?" Cooper's attention snaps to Jenny. "No filming on private property. Turn that off immediately. Jenny keeps recording." "It's a public sidewalk, sir." First Amendment. Cooper's jaw tightens. He's losing control of the narrative, and he knows it. "Security," he barks into his radio. "I need Officer Stevens in the lobby immediately. We have a disturbance." Victoria finally speaks, her words measured and precise. "Mr. Cooper, before your security arrives, I'd like to show you something." She reaches deeper into her jacket, water still dripping from her sleeves. Her fingers find her phone. The screen lights up despite the moisture. "See this?" She holds it at an angle where only Cooper can see. "These are messages from my assistant. Apparently, I have a board meeting that was moved to 3 p.m. today." Cooper glances at the screen dismissively. "Lady, anyone can fake text messages. You think I was born yesterday?" "You're right," Victoria nods. Anyone can fake messages. But can they fake this? She opens her email application. The loading symbol spins. Cooper leans closer despite himself. The screen fills with corporate emails. Subject's line preview. Q4 revenue projections, Sterling Group. Board Resolution 247B requires your approval. Legal review, discrimination policy updates. Cooper's eyes widen slightly, but he covers it with another laugh. Nice try. Could be anyone's phone. Could be stolen. Officer Stevens arrives, his heavy footsteps echoing across the marble. He's a large man, mid-40s, with the tired expression of someone who's dealt with hotel drama before. What's the situation, Mr. Cooper? These women are trespassing, Cooper announces loudly. They became aggressive when I explained our guest policies. One of them is recording illegally, and they're both dripping water all over our floor. Stevens looks at Victoria and Dorothy, taking in their soaked appearance. His expression shifts slightly. Something doesn't add up. Ma'am, Stevens addresses Victoria, I'm going to need to ask you and your mother to step outside while we sort this out. Of course, officer, Victoria replies. But first, may I ask, are you familiar with Sterling Hospitality Group's corporate policies regarding guest treatment? Stevens frowns. Sterling? They own this place, don't they? Cooper jumps in quickly. She's trying to confuse the situation. Don't let her distract you from the fact that she's trespassing. Victoria's phone buzzes. She glances at the screen, types a quick response, then looks back at Stevens. Officer, I'm going to ask you to document everything very carefully. Names, badge numbers, exact statements. This situation is about to become very complicated, very quickly. Cooper's confidence wavers for just a moment. What's that supposed to mean? Victoria doesn't answer. Instead, she helps her mother toward the exit, their wet shoes squeaking against the marble. Where do you think you're going? Cooper calls after them. Victoria pauses at the revolving door, the same door where this all began. I'm going to make a phone call, Mr. Cooper. Just one call. She disappears through the door, leaving Cooper standing in a puddle of water, surrounded by tourists with cameras, while Jenny Martinez's live stream climbs toward 3,000 viewers. Sarah Mitchell watches from behind the desk, a growing sense of dread settling in her stomach. In 3 years of working here, she's never seen anyone remain that calm while being humiliated. Something is very, very wrong. Outside the Grand Metropolitan, Victoria and Dorothy stand beneath the hotel's ornate awning. Victoria pulls out her phone, water droplets still clinging to the screen. Mom, are you okay? Victoria asks, gently touching Dorothy's shoulder. Dorothy nods, though she's still shivering. I'm fine, honey. But maybe we should just find another hotel. This isn't worth the trouble. It's absolutely worth the trouble, Victoria says quietly, scrolling through her contacts. But first, let me take care of you. She flags down a taxi. Driver, there's a CVS 2 blocks from here. We need dry clothes and we'll be right back. 20 minutes later, they return. Victoria has changed into a simple black blazer and slacks from the pharmacy's limited selection. Dorothy wears a comfortable sweater. They look understated but dignified. Jenny Martinez is still live streaming from across the street. Her viewer count has exploded to 5,000. The comments section is a waterfall of outrage. Someone find out who these women are. This hotel is about to get destroyed. I'm never staying at a Grand Metropolitan again. Call the news stations. Inside the lobby, Cooper paces behind the front desk. Stevens remains nearby, his radio crackling with other calls throughout the city. Sir? Sarah Mitchell approaches Cooper hesitantly. Maybe we should call Mr. Wilson. This is getting a lot of attention online. Cooper waves her off. Wilson's in meetings all day. I can handle 2 troublemakers. He glances toward the revolving door. Besides, they're gone. Problem solved. But they're not gone. Victoria and Dorothy walk back through the revolving door, now dry and composed. The lobby falls silent. Every eye turns toward them. Cooper's face flushes red. Are you kidding me? Stevens, arrest them for trespassing. Ma'am? Stevens approaches Victoria. I'm going to have to ask you to leave the premises. Victoria reaches into her new blazer and pulls out her phone. Officer Stevens, before you make any arrests, I need you to witness something very important. She dials a number. The phone rings once before connecting. Charles Wilson's office, this is Margaret. Victoria puts the call on speaker. Cooper's eyes narrow. He recognizes that name. Wilson is the regional director for Sterling Hospitality Group. Margaret, this is Victoria. Is Charles available? I'm downstairs at the Grand Metropolitan and we have a situation that requires immediate attention. Cooper's face goes pale. He lunges for the phone. Give me that! Stevens steps between them. Sir, step back. Margaret's voice crackles through the speaker. Of course, Victoria. He's actually heading down to you right now. He was already en route for a surprise inspection when your message came through. Cooper staggers backward. Inspection? What inspection? Nobody told me about any inspection. Victoria ends the call and looks directly at Cooper. Mr. Cooper, meet my mother, Dorothy Hayes. Today is her first day as Sterling Hospitality Group's new head of customer experience excellence. The lobby erupts in whispers. Sarah Mitchell's hand flies to her mouth. That's impossible, Cooper stammers. You're lying. This is some kind of scam. Dorothy speaks for the first time since entering the lobby, her voice steady despite everything she's endured. Son, I've been in hospitality for 40 years. I've seen every excuse for treating people badly. Yours wasn't even creative. Jenny's live stream explodes. Comments pour in so fast they blur. Oh my God, she's the boss's mother. Cooper is so fired. This is legendary. Cooper's radio crackles. Mr. Cooper, this is Wilson. I'm in the parking garage. Send Stevens down to escort me up immediately. Stevens looks between Cooper and Victoria, understanding dawning on his face. Mr. Cooper, sir, I think maybe we should— No! Cooper's voice cracks. This is insane! These women showed up here soaking wet, claiming to be executives. Look at them. Look at their clothes. Victoria's phone buzzes with a text. She glances at it and shows Stevens the screen. ETA 2 minutes. Document everything. -CW Officer Stevens. Victoria says calmly. I need you to note the exact time. It's currently 2:47 p.m. In approximately 2 minutes, Regional Director Charles Wilson will arrive to conduct his monthly surprise inspection of this property. Cooper's breathing becomes rapid. Monthly inspection? There's no monthly inspection. I would know. Actually, Victoria continues, there is. It was implemented 3 months ago after we received multiple complaints about guest services at this location. Today's inspection was specifically designed to evaluate staff behavior under pressure. The truth hits Cooper like a freight train. His legs nearly give out. You set this up, he whispers. This whole thing was a setup. No, Mr. Cooper. This wasn't a setup. This was a test, and you failed spectacularly. The elevator dings. Charles Wilson emerges, a tall, distinguished man in his 50s wearing an expensive suit. He surveys the scene, the wet floor, the crowd of tourists with phones, Jenny still live streaming from outside, and Cooper standing in the middle of it all looking like he's seen a ghost. Victoria, Wilson nods respectfully. Dorothy. I trust your evaluation is complete? Cooper finds his voice. Mr. Wilson, sir, there's been a misunderstanding. These women, Wilson interrupts, are the reason you still have a job. Or rather, had a job. Victoria, would you like to explain, or shall I? Victoria steps forward, no longer the victim, but clearly in command. Mr. Cooper, I am Victoria Hayes, Chief Executive Officer of Sterling Hospitality Group. This is my mother, Dorothy Hayes. our new head of customer experience excellence. The lobby is dead silent except for the sound of Jenny's live stream notifications going off continuously. Today was supposed to be a routine evaluation, Victoria continues. We wanted to see how our staff handles difficult situations, how they treat guests who might not look like they belong in luxury establishments. Cooper's mouth opens and closes like a fish. No words come out. Instead, Victoria's voice grows harder. We discovered something much worse than poor customer service. We discovered active discrimination, physical assault, and willful humiliation of guests based on racial bias. Stevens steps forward. Ma'am, should I be documenting this for a report? Yes, officer. Document everything. Mr. Wilson? Wilson nods grimly. Mr. Cooper, you're terminated immediately. Security will escort you from the premises. Sarah, please gather his keys, badge, and any company property. Cooper finally finds his voice, high and desperate. You can't do this. This is entrapment. This is illegal. Victoria pulls out her phone one more time. Mr. Cooper, would you like to see the security footage from our cameras? Or perhaps the live stream that's been broadcasting your behavior to over 8,000 people? Cooper looks toward the windows where Jenny is still recording, her phone pointed directly at him. For the first time since this began, Cooper realizes he's completely, utterly powerless. Cooper's face cycles through every shade of panic. Sweat beads on his forehead despite the lobby's perfect climate control. This isn't real, he mutters, backing toward the front desk. This can't be real. Victoria reaches into her blazer and pulls out her phone, but this time, instead of making a call, she opens an app. The screen displays the Sterling Hospitality Group executive portal. Mr. Cooper, I want you to see something. She turns the phone toward him. The screen shows a real-time dashboard. 847 properties worldwide. $4.2 billion annual revenue. 127,000 employees. At the top of the screen, in bold letters, Victoria Hayes, Chief Executive Officer and Chairman of the Board. Cooper's knees buckle. He grabs the marble desk for support. That's photoshopped, he whispers. Victoria swipes to the next screen. It's the Sterling Corporate Directory. Photos and contact information for every executive. Victoria's professional headshot stares back at Cooper, the same face, but in a $3,000 suit instead of pharmacy clothes. Sarah Mitchell leans over to look. Her gasp echoes through the lobby. Oh my God, Sarah breathes. Oh my God, Mr. Cooper, that's really her. Stevens steps closer, his expression shifting from confusion to professional alertness. Ma'am, I need to apologize. If I had known... Officer Stevens, Victoria interrupts gently. You behaved professionally throughout this situation. You have nothing to apologize for. Wilson approaches Cooper, who is now gripping the desk so tightly his knuckles have turned white. Brandon, Wilson says, his voice dangerously quiet. Did you just dump water on the CEO of our company? Cooper's mouth moves, but no sound comes out. Jenny's live stream has reached 12,000 viewers. The comments are moving so fast they're impossible to read, but words like viral and legendary keep appearing. Victoria continues swiping through her phone. Mr. Cooper, here's today's board agenda. Item number 3, review of customer service standards across all properties. She shows him the screen. The agenda is real, detailed, official. Item number 7, discussion of zero-tolerance discrimination policy implementation. Cooper finally finds his voice. How was I supposed to know? You were dressed like... The words hang in the air. Everyone in the lobby understands exactly what he was about to say. Dorothy steps forward, her dignity intact, despite everything she's endured. Like what, son? Like a woman who shops at CVS instead of Bergdorf Goodman. That's not what I meant, Cooper stammers. Yes, it is, Dorothy replies calmly. It's exactly what you meant. And that's exactly the problem. Victoria opens another app on her phone. Mr. Cooper, this is our real-time property monitoring system. Every Sterling hotel has cameras that feed directly to corporate. She turns the screen toward him. Security footage from 30 minutes ago plays in perfect clarity. Cooper dumping water on two women in the lobby. This footage automatically uploads to our servers, Victoria explains. It's already been saved, backed up and flagged for review. Cooper sinks into a chair behind the front desk. I didn't know, he repeats weakly. You didn't know what? Victoria asks. That dumping water on guests was wrong? That calling human beings trash was unacceptable? That humiliating an elderly woman was against company policy? Wilson pulls out his own phone. Victoria, should I contact legal now or after we finish here? After, Victoria replies. I want Mr. Cooper to understand the full scope of what just happened. She opens her email and shows Cooper the screen. Hundreds of unread messages pour in, all marked urgent. Victoria, emergency board meeting requested. CEO, media inquiry. Grand Metropolitan. Incident. Urgent. Twitter, response required, #Sterling, hotel, scandal trending. Legal review. Discrimination incident. Immediate action required. Cooper watches the emails multiply in real time. His career isn't just ending, it's exploding across social media. The story broke 4 minutes ago, Victoria explains. Someone recorded Jenny's live stream and posted it on TikTok. It already has 200,000 views. She swipes to her Twitter app. # Sterling Hotel Scandal is trending nationwide. Videos of the incident are being shared thousands of times per minute. Mr. Cooper, Victoria continues, in the hospitality industry, reputation is everything. You've just cost Sterling Hospitality Group approximately $2.3 million in crisis management, legal fees, and lost bookings. Cooper looks up at her with dead eyes. How do you know that number? Because this isn't my first discrimination incident, Victoria replies. Unfortunately, it happens more often than you'd think. The difference is, usually I hear about it secondhand through reports. Today, I experienced it firsthand. Wilson approaches Cooper's desk. Brandon, I need your keys, your badge, and your access cards. Now. Cooper doesn't move. He's staring at Victoria's phone as more notifications flood in. Sir? Wilson repeats. Cooper slowly reaches into his pocket and pulls out a key ring. His hands shake as he removes the hotel keys. 15 years, Cooper whispers. I've worked in hospitality for 15 years. And in 15 minutes, Dorothy observes quietly, you threw it all away. Victoria puts her phone away and looks directly at Cooper. Mr. Cooper, I want you to understand something very clearly. This didn't happen because you didn't recognize me. This happened because you saw two black women and decided we didn't deserve basic human dignity. Cooper opens his mouth to protest, but Victoria continues. Even if I worked at McDonald's, even if my mother cleaned offices, even if we had no money, no status, no power, what you did today would still be wrong. Stevens nods, taking notes in his incident report. The problem isn't that you mistreated the CEO of Sterling Hospitality Group, Victoria concludes. The problem is that you would mistreat anyone. Cooper slumps forward, his head in his hands. Outside, Jenny Martinez ends her live stream after 47 minutes. Her final comment to her now 15,000 followers, I came to Manhattan to shop. Instead, I watched justice happen in real time. But Victoria isn't done yet. Mr. Cooper, she says, her voice carrying a new edge, there's one more thing you need to know. Cooper looks up from his hands, his eyes red-rimmed and desperate. What else could there possibly be? Victoria walks to the center of the lobby, commanding the space like a courtroom. Every person present, Stevens, Sarah, Wilson, the lingering tourists, becomes her jury. Mr. Cooper, you asked how you were supposed to know who I was. Let me show you exactly how much you didn't know. She pulls out her phone again, but this time opens a different app. The screen displays Sterling Hospitality Group's live financial dashboard. Today is September 13th, 2025. As of this moment, Sterling Hospitality Group operates 847 properties across 34 countries. Our annual revenue is $4.2 billion. We employ 127,000 people worldwide. Cooper stares at the numbers, but Victoria isn't finished. The Grand Metropolitan Hotel generates exactly $89,000 in daily revenue. Your annual salary, Mr. Cooper, is $67,000. The math isn't complex. She swipes to another screen. This incident will cost Sterling approximately $2.3 million. Here's the breakdown. Victoria's voice becomes clinical, precise. Legal fees for discrimination lawsuit defense, $400,000. Crisis management and public relations, $600,000. Lost bookings over the next 6 months based on historical data, $1.1 million. Staff retraining across all properties, $200,000. Cooper's face goes ashen. You can't pin all of that on me. I'm not pinning it on you, Mr. Cooper. I'm explaining the cost of your choices. Wilson steps forward. Victoria, should I explain the legal implications? Please do, Charles. Wilson addresses Cooper directly. Brandon, under Sterling Hospitality Group's corporate charter, Section 12.3 explicitly prohibits discrimination based on race, gender, age, or socioeconomic status. Violation results in immediate termination and forfeiture of all benefits. Cooper's breathing becomes shallow. Benefits? What benefits? Your pension, your health insurance continuation, your accrued vacation pay, Wilson lists. Everything. Gone. Victoria opens another app. Mr. Cooper, this is our insurance portal. Our liability coverage specifically excludes lawsuits arising from employee misconduct. That means if Dorothy and I choose to pursue legal action, you're personally liable. But I don't have that kind of money, Cooper whispers. No, Victoria agrees. You don't. Dorothy speaks up, her voice carrying decades of hard-earned wisdom. Son, do you understand what you've done? You didn't just hurt 2 people today. You hurt every black person who's ever walked into a hotel wondering if they'd be welcome. Stevens continues taking notes, documenting every word. Victoria swipes to her email. Mr. Cooper, while we've been talking, I've received messages from hotel managers in Los Angeles, Chicago, Miami, and London. They're all asking the same question. How do we prevent this from happening at our properties? She shows him the screen. The emails are real, timestamps current. Your actions today haven't just affected the Grand Metropolitan. They've created a crisis of confidence across our entire organization. Cooper looks around the lobby desperately. Mr. Wilson, you know me. You know I'm not a bad person. I made a mistake. Wilson's expression remains stone-cold professional. Brandon, I've known you for 3 years. In that time, how many guests have you treated this way when you thought no one important was watching? The question hangs in the air like smoke. Sarah Mitchell raises her hand tentatively. Mr. Wilson, sir, I need to say something. Victoria nods. Go ahead, Sarah. Last month, Sarah begins, her voice shaking, Mr. Cooper turned away a Hispanic family. He said they looked suspicious and couldn't produce proper identification, but they had valid credit cards and reservation confirmations. Cooper's head snaps toward Sarah. You're lying. And 2 weeks ago, Sarah continues, gaining confidence, He made an elderly Asian man wait 40 minutes for check-in while he helped 3 white customers who arrived after him. Wilson pulls out his phone and starts typing notes. Sarah, I need you to document all of this in writing. Today. Victoria watches Cooper's face crumble as his pattern of behavior gets exposed. Mr. Cooper? Victoria says quietly, this isn't about one incident. This is about who you are when you think you have power over people. She opens her contacts and dials a number on speaker. Sterling Legal Department, this is Jennifer Morrison. Jennifer, this is Victoria Hayes. I need you to prepare immediate documentation for a termination with cause. The employee has violated Section 12.3 of our corporate charter in front of multiple witnesses. Understood. Should I also prepare discrimination liability assessment? Victoria looks at Cooper. Yes, full assessment. And Jennifer? This incident was live-streamed to over 15,000 people and is trending on social media. There's a pause on the line. Oh my. Victoria, this is going to require full crisis protocols. Already in motion. I'll send you the security footage within the hour. Victoria ends the call and turns back to Cooper. Mr. Cooper, you now have 2 choices. You can resign immediately with a neutral reference that confirms only your dates of employment, or you can be terminated for cause with full documentation of this incident in your permanent record. Cooper looks around the lobby like a trapped animal. Tourists are still recording. Jenny Martinez is visible through the windows, still live streaming to her followers. If I resign, Cooper asks weakly, what happens to the legal stuff? Dorothy answers before Victoria can speak. Son, that depends entirely on how you handle the next 5 minutes. Victoria nods. My mother is right. Your resignation won't make the legal issues disappear, but it might influence how we proceed. Wilson checks his watch. Brandon, you have 60 seconds to decide. Cooper stands up slowly, his movements mechanical. He reaches into his pocket and pulls out his access cards, his name tag, his company phone. I resign, he whispers. Victoria doesn't smile, doesn't gloat. She simply nods. Charles, please document the resignation time as 3:17 p.m. But Victoria isn't finished. Mr. Cooper, before you leave, I want you to understand the changes we're implementing starting immediately. She pulls out her phone and opens her notes app. Every Sterling hospitality property will now have mandatory bias interruption training quarterly. We're launching a real-time customer feedback app where guests can rate staff interactions anonymously. And we're instituting monthly unannounced executive inspections at every property. Cooper stares at her, understanding dawning. You're changing everything because of what I did. No, Victoria corrects. We're changing everything because of what you revealed. This behavior exists throughout our industry. Today just gave us the documentation we needed to fix it. Stevens finishes his report. Ma'am, I have everything documented. Will you be pressing charges? Victoria looks at her mother. Dorothy considers for a long moment. Not today, officer, Dorothy finally says. But if this young man ever works in hospitality again and treats anyone the way he treated us today, we will. Cooper heads toward the exit, his career over, his reputation destroyed, his future uncertain. As he reaches the revolving door, Victoria calls out one last time. Mr. Cooper? He turns back, hope flickering in his eyes. Don't forget to take your water pitcher with you. The lobby falls silent except for the sound of Cooper's footsteps disappearing into the Manhattan afternoon. The lobby of the Grand Metropolitan falls into an eerie quiet after Cooper's departure. Victoria stands in the center of the marble floor, no longer the victim, but clearly the architect of everything that just unfolded. Wilson approaches her with visible relief. Victoria, I have to ask, how long have you been planning this? 3 months, Victoria replies, helping her mother to a nearby chair. ever since we received the fourth discrimination complaint about this property. Sarah Mitchell looks up from behind the front desk, her face pale. There were other complaints? Dorothy nods, settling into the plush armchair. Honey, there are always complaints. The question is whether anyone listens. Victoria pulls out her phone and opens a file labeled Grand Metropolitan Investigation. The document is thick with incident reports, guest surveys, and staff evaluations. May 15th, Asian family denied service, told the hotel was fully booked despite available rooms. June 3rd, Latino businessman questioned about his ability to pay before being shown room rates. July 22nd, elderly black couple asked to prepay for potential damages to their room. Stevens continues taking notes, documenting every detail. The pattern was clear, Victoria continues, but patterns don't create legal liability. We needed documented proof of discriminatory behavior. Wilson shakes his head. So you put yourself and Dorothy through this intentionally? Charles, my mother has been fighting discrimination in hospitality for 40 years. When I told her about the complaints, she volunteered immediately. Dorothy's voice carries quiet strength. Honey, if an old woman like me getting wet helps protect other families from what we experience today, it's worth every drop. Jenny Martinez finally enters the lobby. Her live stream ended, but her phone still recording. Victoria notices and waves her over. Ms. Martinez, isn't it? I saw your Instagram information when you were filming. Jenny nods nervously. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to interfere with anything private. You didn't interfere. Victoria smiles for the first time all day. You documented, and that documentation is going to help us make sure this never happens again. Victoria turns to address the remaining tourists and staff in the lobby. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to understand what you witnessed today wasn't just about one employee's bad behavior. This was about systemic change. She opens her phone to a prepared presentation. Starting tomorrow, Sterling Hospitality Group will implement the following reforms across all 847 properties. The first slide appears, the Dignity Protocol, Zero Tolerance for Discrimination. Every customer-facing employee will complete bias interruption training every 3 months. Not annually, every 3 months. Sarah raises her hand. What kind of training? Victoria swipes to the next slide. Role-playing scenarios, implicit bias recognition, and de-escalation techniques. The training will be conducted by external diversity consultants, not internal HR. Wilson nods approvingly. The board approved this budget yesterday. Second, Victoria continues, we're launching the Speak Up app. Guests can rate their interactions with staff in real time, anonymously. Every rating below 4 stars triggers an immediate management review. Stevens looks up from his notes. That seems like it could be misused. Dorothy answers. Officer, when you're used to being treated badly, you don't complain unless something is really wrong. Trust me, people won't misuse this. Victoria swipes again. Third, executive accountability. Every C-level executive at Sterling will conduct unannounced property visits monthly. Not quarterly, not annually, monthly. And if we find discrimination? Wilson asks. Immediate termination. No warnings, no second chances. Victoria's voice becomes steel. We're also implementing financial penalties. Any property with verified discrimination incidents will lose 20% of their management bonus pool. Jenny raises her hand. What about legal consequences for employees like Cooper? Victoria opens another app on her phone. Excellent question. We're establishing a $500,000 customer dignity fund. Victims of discrimination at Sterling Properties will receive immediate financial support for legal fees, counseling, and other needs. She shows the screen to Jenny's camera. The fund documentation is already prepared, already approved. We're also partnering with the Hospitality Industry Diversity Council to create industry-wide standards. What happened here today can't happen anywhere. Sarah speaks up again. Ms. Hayes, what about employees who witness discrimination but don't report it? Victoria pauses, considering. Sarah, you worked here for 3 years. You saw Cooper's behavior toward other guests. Why didn't you report it? Sarah's voice becomes small. I was scared I'd lose my job. Cooper was my supervisor. That's exactly why we're changing the reporting structure, Victoria explains. All discrimination reports now go directly to corporate, bypassing local management entirely. And we're implementing whistleblower protections with financial incentives for reporting bias incidents. Wilson checks his watch. Victoria, the board meeting starts in 20 minutes. I know. We're going to recommend these policies for immediate implementation across the entire Sterling portfolio. Dorothy stands up, her dignity fully restored. Victoria, show them the scholarship program. Victoria's expression softens. We're establishing the Dorothy Hayes Hospitality Excellence Scholarship. $100,000 annually for students from underrepresented communities studying hospitality management. The lobby erupts in spontaneous applause from the remaining tourists. Jenny wipes tears from her eyes. This is incredible! You're not just fixing this hotel, you're changing the entire industry. Jenny, would you be willing to partner with us on something? Jenny nods eagerly. We want to create a documentary about today. Show other businesses how discrimination incidents should be handled. Would you share your footage? Absolutely. And I want to donate my portion of any proceeds to your scholarship fund. Stevens closes his notebook. Ladies, I need to submit my report. Will you be available if we need follow-up information? Victoria hands him a business card. Officer Stevens, you handled this situation with professionalism and fairness. If you ever decide to leave law enforcement, Sterling would be honored to have you in our security division. Wilson's phone buzzes with urgent messages. Victoria, the media is calling. CNN, NBC, The Times. They want statements. Schedule interviews for tomorrow. Today belongs to Dorothy and the changes we're implementing. Victoria looks around the lobby one more time. The marble floor is dry now. The tourists have mostly dispersed. Sarah is training a temporary manager who arrived to replace Cooper. Dorothy, ready to see your new office? Dorothy smiles, linking arms with her daughter. Honey, I've been ready for 40 years. As they walk toward the elevator, Victoria turns back to Jenny. Ms. Martinez, you started something important today. Your live stream showed the world that regular people can document injustice and create change. Jenny holds up her phone. Should I keep recording? Always, Victoria replies. The moment we stop watching is the moment they stop trying. The elevator doors close, leaving behind a hotel that will never be the same, in an industry that's about to transform because 2 women refused to accept that dignity was negotiable. Outside, the Manhattan afternoon continues its rhythm. But inside the Grand Metropolitan, the future has already begun. 6 months later, Victoria Hayes stands in the same lobby where her humiliation became her triumph. The Grand Metropolitan has been transformed not just in policy, but in spirit. Sarah Mitchell, now promoted to assistant manager, greets every guest with genuine warmth. The Speak Up app shows consistent 4.8-star ratings. The mandatory bias training has created a culture where discrimination isn't just forbidden, it's unthinkable. Dorothy Hayes' office overlooks Central Park. Her walls display letters from families who stayed at Sterling Properties without fear, without judgment, without having their humanity questioned at the door. The ripple effects spread far beyond hospitality. The Sterling Standard became industry shorthand for dignified service. Marriott, Hilton, and Hyatt all adopted similar protocols. Business schools now teach the Grand Metropolitan case study as required curriculum. Cooper? He works at a car rental agency in Newark, under a manager who insists on treating every customer with respect. The irony isn't lost on him. Jenny Martinez leveraged her viral moment into a career as a social justice documentarian. Her film, 15 Minutes of Justice, won 3 Emmy Awards and sparked congressional hearings on discrimination in service industries. But the real victory isn't measured in awards or policies. It's measured in moments. Like the young black family who checked into a Sterling hotel in Atlanta last week, welcomed without question, treated without reservation. Like the elderly Latino man who needed accessible accommodations in Chicago and received them with dignity, not reluctance. Like the Muslim woman who requested prayer times information in Dallas and was provided a dedicated quiet space without being made to feel burdensome. Victoria's phone still buzzes with messages. Today's is from a college student in Phoenix. Ms. Hayes, I used the Speak Up app to report amazing service at your Scottsdale property. The front desk agent went out of her way to help my grandmother with mobility issues. I wanted you to know that kindness matters too. The Sterling hospitality transformation succeeded because it recognized a fundamental truth. Respect isn't earned through status, wealth, or appearance. Respect is the baseline of human interaction. Dorothy often tells visitors to her office, power isn't about proving you're superior. It's about lifting others up and creating systems that protect dignity for everyone. The changes at Sterling proved sustainable because they addressed root causes, not just symptoms. Training minds changed behavior. Financial incentives changed priorities. Executive accountability changed culture. Today, discrimination incidents at Sterling properties have dropped 94%. Employee satisfaction scores increased 23%. Customer loyalty reached all-time highs. The business case for dignity turned out to be ironclad. Victoria's leadership style evolved too. She realized that true power isn't about what you can do to people. It's about what you can do for people. The Grand Metropolitan now serves as Sterling's flagship property for inclusive hospitality. Tour groups visit monthly to study their transformation model. Other industries send delegations to understand how systemic change actually works. But perhaps the most powerful change is invisible. It's in the expectation that every person who walks through any Sterling property door will be treated as someone who belongs, someone who matters, someone whose dignity is non-negotiable. Victoria kept her promise. She didn't just fix one hotel, she changed an industry standard. Your voice matters in this fight. Have you witnessed discrimination in hotels, restaurants, or retail? Share your story in the comments below. When we document injustice, we create accountability. Have you seen businesses handle diversity well? Tag them. Positive recognition encourages others to follow their example. Most importantly, if you believe respect should be universal, not earned through status, share this video. Every share reaches someone who needs to see that change is possible, that dignity is worth fighting for, that 15 minutes of courage can create decades of progress. Subscribe for more stories of everyday people creating extraordinary change, because the next time you witness injustice, you'll know exactly what real power looks like, and you'll be ready to use yours.